Olá rapaziada, como é que vocês estão? Eu espero bem. Vamos aí a mais um episódio de Granblue Fantasy Relink. E neste episódio nós vamos acompanhar os episódios de Destino de Io. Mas antes de mais nada, vamos ao nosso pequeno ritual padrão. Pega uma de petisco, chama os amigos e bora se divertir, mas deixa que já quer esse coração. Se não for inscrito, já aproveita e se inscreve. Bora lá. Sofisticação é teimosa e tenaz, talvez até um pouco demais. Bem, teimosa a gente sabe que ela é, né? Fizemos o prólogo, o episódio 1, o episódio 2 e agora vamos completar o episódio 3 em diante. Durante as jornadas de Io com a tripulação, ela misteriosamente perde a habilidade de usar magia. O grupo volta ao ducado de Veld atrás de uma resposta. Por coincidência, a mesma epidemia que ceifou os pais de Io está se espalhando em volta outra vez e parece ser causada por um espírito maligno. Ao se preparar para enfrentar o espírito, Io obtém o cajado de sua mãe, que lhe restaura a magia. Com a ajuda da afinada mãe, Io derrota o espírito.
While out running errands in Folca one day, I came across a crowd of people in the town square. But from the sounds of things, it wasn't a friendly get-together.
I hate you all! Mom,
Nossa.
Dad, everybody in this stupid town!
The boy shouted angrily at the adults and took off running.
Que
Ran into
revoltado.
me! We both landed on our backsides. Sheesh! Watch where you're going, kid! And that's when I noticed the tears streaming down his face. He was clearly upset about something. Hey, you okay? The boy hopped to his feet without a word, shooting me a glare before sprinting away. One of the adults started to follow after him, but
Please, Doctor, there's not much time.
the crowd stopped him in his tracks.
But I can't just... No, you're right. My patients need me. Forgive me, Lev.
The man closed his eyes, muttered something to the townspeople, and ran off in the opposite direction. Wait, that kid was crying! You're not gonna go after him? I shouted after the man's back, but he either didn't hear me, or pretended not to. Then I felt a gentle hand on my shoulder.
I'm sure he wants to, sweetheart. You see, that boy is his son.
The boy's name was Lev. His father was a doctor, with many patients needing urgent care, so he had no choice but to ask the townspeople to find a son for him. I knew I should mind my own business, but I couldn't get the poor kid's face out of my head. He was probably hiding somewhere all by himself, crying his eyes out. I understood all too well how painful it felt to be alone. When Master Sokka reached out to me, it changed my life forever. Maybe it was my turn to do the same for someone else.
Sim.
I turned to ask the crew if we could join the search, but they were already gearing up to head after him. It seemed we'd all had the same idea. Just
Claro.
you wait, Lev, I thought to myself. I was gonna find him and put a smile back on his face, even if it meant sticking my nose where it didn't belong.
Você acha que ninguém ia procurar um molequinho saindo correndo? Pesado por aí? Episódio 4 é só uma fase, vai dar mais slot. A calma de Folca é rompida por um menino chamado Lev. Ele grita que odeia todos os adultos da vila e sai correndo para a floresta. O homem sai atrás dele, mas é contido pelos outros aldeões. Io descobre que o homem é o pai de Lev, um médico que tem que colocar os pacientes antes do filho. Io não aguenta imaginar o menino chorando sozinho. Ela e a tripulação seguem para a floresta em busca dele. Tudo bem, vamos lá. É só uma fase.
The villagers didn't seem too worried about Lev. According to them, he'd have to venture much deeper into the forest before encountering any monsters. But that wasn't the issue. It seemed like nobody wanted to talk about why he'd run off in the first place. It was an obvious cry for help, and nobody was helping. I went through the same thing back in the day. Even after I met my master, there were times when the loss of my parents was just too much to bear. I didn't go so far as to run from home, but I'd sit alone in the corner of my room, hugging my knees to my chest and crying. Whenever Master Zaka found me like that, he'd always perform a silly magic trick to cheer me up. Just like me, all Lev wanted was for someone to find him, to take his hand, so he went off on his own in the hopes that someone would come for him. I'm sure he knew it was selfish, but it was the only card he felt he had left.
Do you think this means Lev doesn't want to live at home anymore?
I had a feeling that wasn't the case. He's probably just going through a rebellious phase.
Oh, that's when kids start arguing and acting out, right? Catalina told me it's pretty common. Did you have a phase like that?
Lyria's question was innocent enough, but I was too embarrassed to admit that I'd ever gone off alone because I wanted someone to pay attention to me. Heck no! That's not something befitting of a grown lady like myself. So what if I told a little lie? Our biggest concern right now was Lev, who was out there, probably crying with his back up against some rough, silent tree.
Uhum.
He needed a friend, and I was more than determined to be one for him.
Controlar Io. Io é uma jovem maga que sonha em ser uma dama elegante. É de elegante, ela não tem nada, porque ela é meio chatinha. Ela pode conjurar feitiços a longo alcance e curar o grupo com feitiços de recuperação. O dadinho conjura uma esfera mágica e deve atingir os inimigos com grande área. O feitiço é carregado e concede a ela um orbe de vórtice místico. O número de orbes que ela possui determina o número de níveis que ela pode carregar o ataque de W, ou de W. De onde eu tirei que o triângulo é um W? Deixa a mágica fluir e mantenha essa maga cheia de orbes.
This forest is as huge as ever. I sure hope Lev's okay.
Come on! We gotta find him! And fast!
Cadê você?
Wait, we're still on the edge of the forest, right? What are
Sim.
goblins doing here?
They're in for it now!
Decimate! I will use your guiding light.
There's no time to waste. We've gotta find him.
Pronto.
Watch out for the flyers! We're gonna need that magic of yours, yo! Watch it!
Ai.
I don't see him anywhere.
Cadê o pessoal? Ah, vocês já mataram. Esse que dá trazer todo mundo, tipo, no level 100. E você tá lá tranquilo. Numa boa. Só apreciando a paisagem. Chegamos. Cadê os monstros?
That's a lot of monsters. Guess we'll just have to take them all out.
I'm on it.
Incoming!
Oh, come on. Just leave us alone already. Together.
Isso, tira ele da minha gravidade mesmo.
Let us alone out there. Come on.
Vou fazer essa...
There he is! Over there!
Eita, preula.
What you want?
Watch out! Now we're talking!
Tampinho. Essas missões vão muito rápidas.
Don't worry. They're gone now. You okay? Yeah. Thanks.
Uhul.
We were lucky we found Lev when we did, or he would have been Monster Chow. But before we could talk to him, the town watch came hurrying over.
Lev, your parents are worried sick about you. Come on, let's go home.
Lev looked away, ignoring the old man's outstretched hand. I could imagine how he was feeling. being treated like he was selfish and immature, when all he wanted was someone to sit down and talk to. The man sighed and scratched his head in frustration.
Your mom and dad are fine people. Try being a little more considerate, okay?
Lev immediately bristled at those words, breaking his silence.
What do you know? This is all your fault!
Nossa.
Knocking the man's hand out of the way, he turned and ran deeper into the forest.
Meu Deus.
It was like watching a scene from my own past, but I wished he'd get a grip already. The deeper he went into the forest, the more likely he was to get attacked. We had to hurry.
E eu recebi outro espécie de selo.
Come to view the requests?
Travessura e gostosura. A tripulação salva Lev dos monstros. Um membro da unidade de defesa falcana chega para levar o menino para casa. Lev afasta a mão de um dos membros, gritando que é culpa dos adultos, e corre para mais fundo na floresta. E eu vai atrás dele, desesperada. Esse menininho vai ser difícil, hein? Caramba! Ô, criaturinha.
We all
Já
split
calma
up
aí.
to search for Lev so we could cover more ground. I didn't see any trace of him at first, so I thought I must have gone the wrong way. But then I noticed footprints that looked like someone had slipped over a nearby ledge. And sure enough, when I peeked down, I saw a familiar figure sitting hunched over, knees to his chest. He looked a little scraped up, but didn't seem to be hurt badly. I was just glad I managed to find him still in one piece. When I told him I was a Skyfarer, he immediately burst into tears of relief. I could tell he was upset with the villagers about something, and that's why he couldn't be honest with them. But as an outsider, I thought I might have a chance. Watch closely. I'm gonna cast some special magic just for you. It was time for one of my master's patented magic tricks.
As florzinhas.
I showed Lev my empty palm before covering it with a handkerchief. I flung the cloth away, and voila! There was a piece of candy in my hand.
Wow, candy!
Here, you can have it. After devouring the candy, he finally calmed down.
Thanks.
Normally, that would have been enough to lift any kid's spirits. But his face fell again as quickly as it had lit up. I guess he really doesn't want to go home. I decided I wouldn't leave him until there was a smile back on his face.
O que aconteceu com o moleque pra ele não querer mais ir pra lá, em fuga? E eu finalmente rastrei Lev após uma longa busca. Ela faz um truque de mágica que aprendeu com o mestre, o que reconforta o menino, especialmente quando ele ganha um doce no fim. A guloseima anima a criança por um minuto, mas logo se entristece de novo.
While we were still deep in the woods, I decided to ask Lev up front. Why did you run away? He hesitated at first, but after seeing that I was serious, he started to open up.
My mom and dad used to work as doctors in Temple.
Back then, all had been well with their family. But when Furikin went berserk, they lost their home and ended up moving to Folka. That was when things started to fall apart. His parents began to spend all of their time tending to patients who were affected by the disaster, with hardly a moment's rest. Lev watched as his mom got paler and the black circles under her eyes grew darker and darker. He begged her to take a break, but it was no use. Eventually, she collapsed from overwork.
Putz.
I told her she wouldn't be able to help people anymore if she got sick. She just wouldn't listen to me.
And here I thought he was just a kid going through a rebellious phase. That wasn't the case at all. That's really grown up of you, Lev. You're just worried about your mom and dad, huh?
Yeah.
After hearing Lev's explanation, I finally understood how he felt. I knew how hard it was watching people you cared about pushing themselves too hard. I couldn't stand to see my master doing it either. And that's exactly what was going through Lev's mind. He wasn't being selfish. Everything he did, it was because he loved his parents.
Uhum. Episódio 7, achando algo em comum. Levi acaba confiando em Io bastante para explicar o motivo da raiva. Os pais dele eram médicos em Tempio e perderam a casa no desastre de Hurricane. Desde que vieram para Folca, os pais deles receberam pacientes sem parar, fazendo a mãe desmaiar de exaustão. Io sente que Levi está só preocupado com o bem-estar dos pais. Achando algo em comum.
If it were me in his shoes, I'm sure I'd be worried sick about my parents too. There's nothing wrong with worrying about your parents. I'm sure they're proud to have a son who cares so much.
But
what? Something was still on his mind.
I always wanted to be a great doctor, just like my mom and dad. But after my mom collapsed, I started thinking maybe everybody else was just using them.
Along the way, he'd stopped being able to trust the people of Folca, and he thought feeling that way meant he could never follow in his parents' footsteps. Lev stared at the ground as he spoke, finally confiding his troubles to me. After hearing his story, I began to open up about my own parents. He listened to my words in silence. My parents had also strained themselves too hard after getting sick, and eventually passed away. So Lev's circumstances were all too familiar. Just like him, I felt nothing but bitterness and despair. But there was one difference. I've got to admit, I envy you a little. After all, your mom and dad are still alive and well. While we were standing there talking, Lev's parents and the villagers were probably beside themselves with worry, braving the dangers of the forest to search for him. When I told him that, Lev finally seemed to grasp the situation.
I really messed up, didn't I? I'm sorry.
Are you sure I'm the person you should be saying that to? I stood up and smiled at Lev. He and his family all seemed like really good people. The only thing they needed to patch their home back together was a long heart-to-heart.
Uhum. Vai ter batalha. Levi continua conversando com Io e confessa que acha que o povo da cidade está tirando vantagem da bondade e sente o dever dos pais dele como médicos. Levi tema que essa desconfiança signifique que ele nunca se tornará um grande médico como os pais, e o convence a ver a situação por outro ângulo e sugere que volte a Folca. Eita, você vai sozinha. Vamos lá. Mudança de opinião.
As we made our way back to town, Lev still seemed anxious. Don't start freaking out yet. First you need to apologize to your parents. Then you can tell them everything you told me.
Well, how am I supposed to say it, though?
Talk about helpless. Lucky for him, he had a grown-up lady around to nudge him in the right direction. How about I teach you that special magic I showed you earlier?
But that wasn't real magic, right? It was just some cheap trick.
Nossa.
Rude. It was good enough to make you stop blubbering, wasn't it? Come on, let me see your hand. The trick I showed him could be used without any special training. It was the magic designed to bring smiles that my master had taught me. Lev watched me closely, then tried his best to copy what I did. He practiced over and over and over. After walking through the forest for a while, we heard the voices of Lev's parents and the other villagers.
Lev? Answer if you can hear me!
Where are you, Lev?
Mom! Dad!
As soon as Lev heard his parents' voices, he broke into a run.
Que bom.
At that moment, the villagers' shouts echoed through the nearby woods.
Eita, Pirula.
Look out!
An enormous figure was approaching, knocking down trees as it lumbered toward us. It couldn't be. A goblin?
Intruders, die!
Eita,
It all
Pirula.
happened so quickly. The goblin lunged to attack Lev's parents.
You're gonna have to go through us first. Huh?
Lev was speechless. It seemed as if the entire town of Folka had stepped up to protect his parents from the monster.
Mm-hmm.
Puny weaklings!
What I did next was purely out of instinct. Freeze! A block of ice appeared out of thin air, slamming into the goblin's head.
Tasty meat! You first!
The spell had done its job. I'd gotten the goblin's attention. I'd finally made a breakthrough with Lev. I wasn't gonna let monster breath over here ruin their happy reunion. Bring it on!
Vamos lá, minha filha. Hora do show.
I wish there was something we could do to help her.
I'll try mixing up a potion. That should do the trick.
Ai.
Two huskies putting up one
Ai.
heck of a fight.
No. He needs medicine, quick. Here, yo. I whipped up a potion for you.
Thanks! You're a lifesaver.
Caramba, tá? Vamos, desgraça.
Here's another potion.
Queima.
Thanks, Lev. Just what I needed.
Nossa, sério que vem um com escudo? Ainda vai vir um monte. Que lindo.
There's more of them. What do we do now?
Stand back, everyone. I can handle this by myself.
Qualquer coisa.
Where that came from?
Together.
Vamos. Devaneação.
Another revival potion coming up.
Vamos. Venha. Uhul. É muito chato. Com escudo ainda. Ah, vai se ferrar. É porque ela não dá muito dano, não. Por isso que eu não gostei muito de jogar com ela. Vamos. Mas vamos lá. A gente precisa provocar ele. Vamos. Venha.
Another revival potion coming up.
Vamos. Vem, 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 vem.
There's more where that came from.
Não! Não era fazer isso. Não, finalmente uma que vai dar, como fala, que vai dar emoção. As outras estavam muito fáceis. Droga.
It'll take more than that to scare me. Yeah, you got this.
Meu Deus.
Now I'm fired up.
Nossa, um seguido do outro. Aí você tá me zoando.
Too hot to handle. Where that came from?
Caramba.
Never give up. Gravity well. Burn you up.
Pra que você tacou no outro lado?
Thought you had me.
Another revival potion coming up!
Vamos.
Too hot to handle. Here we go.
There's more where that came
Vai, minha
from!
filha, cura. Isso. Agora que ele se livrou do escudo, tá tirando a vida dela inteira.
Come on, you can do it!
Tá me zoando.
Never give up. Thought you had me.
Vai, vamos conseguir.
Another revival potion coming up!
Muito obrigado pelas poções.
Watch it. Heads up.
Nossa. Sai de perto de mim, criatura. Aê. Ah, vocês estão me zoando.
Too hot to handle.
Eu não quero vocês.
Gravity well. Thought you had me.
Vai. Ah. Não, minha filha. Vamos, se recupera.
Watch it.
Vai.
Healing wind. Fire.
Ah, não. Ele virou escudo. Vamos. Vamos que tá emocionante.
Burn you up. One more.
she might actually do this.
It's over!
Agora sim.
One more!
Ah, não. Não deu dano. Uhul. Fogo, gelo. Sério, vai vir uns grandes agora aqui. Venha. Ups. Vai. Vamos que a gente consegue. Aí, um já foi. Não, é naquele ali. Pronto. Caramba, minha filha, que dificuldade. Não. Você tá me zoando. Caramba. Obrigado. Obrigado pelo milagre. Vai. Caramba, fica nessa merda.
On the line for the sake of vaults. So I can't back down either. I'll use the magic master Zapit's button to make everyone smile.
Ai. Caramba, minha filha, levanta logo. Misericórdia. Vamos, criatura. Vai. Não, eu não upei nada dela, se você tem ideia. Ela não tá nada, acho que eu não usei nem... Eu não coloquei nem maestria direito nela. Vai. Uhul. Vai lá, minha filha. Falta pouco. O sofrimento vai acabar. Vai. Aê, ela conseguiu.
I don't believe it. She took it down all by herself.
É ruim, hein? Misericórdia. Não gostei dela.
First you saved Tempeel, and now us. Thank you, Skyfarer.
The people of Folka were all safe, including Lev's parents. After thanking me, Lev turned to the villagers, shuffling his feet nervously.
I'm really sorry, everybody. Thanks for protecting my mom and dad.
Come now, there's no need for that. We're the ones who ought to be thanking your folks. They've done so much for us. Sorry for everything we've put your family through.
Lev and I shared a glance before he turned to his parents, finally telling them everything he'd been bottling up inside. His parents and the people of Folka listened intently, nodding every so often at his words.
You only ever had everyone's best intentions at heart, didn't you? We're so sorry for making you worry.
I chalked it all up to selfishness and immaturity, but should have heard you out. I hope you can forgive your old man.
I was just glad everything had turned out all right in the end.
Ew! We're here to help!
Sorry, we were clear on the other side of the woods. What happened to that giant monster?
What the heck? You're the one who said heroes always arrive just in the nick of time. But what kind of hero arrives after the fight's already over?
What does that matter right now? Here, let me take a look at you. You're not hurt or anything, are you?
You have no idea how much I wanted to tease Rackham for losing his cool. But I held it in. It's really nice knowing you have people who care.
Machucada é pouco. Mais um espaço para selo. Vamos terminar essa história?
Hello there.
Um sorriso genuíno. No caminho de volta a Folca, Lev ouve os pais do menino chamando ele pela floresta. De repente, um goblin gigante embosca os pais dele e o povo da cidade logo aparece para defendê-los. Isso daí é o tempo para rechaçar o goblin. Rechaçar. Então, enfim. Depois de ver como os aldeões vieram resgatar a família dele, Lev pede desculpa pelo comportamento.
The day had arrived for Lev to show his parents the magic trick he learned from me. Was he going to be able to pull it off?
Será?
I had to see for myself, so I followed them to a restaurant in town and sat at a nearby table. Somehow just watching was enough to make me nervous too.
I want to show you something.
Come on, you can do this. It's all about sleight of hand, remember? Lev showed his parents the palm of his empty hand and covered it with a handkerchief. Then he removed the cloth just like I taught him.
Uhul.
But when he opened his hand, there was nothing there. I thought he must have made a mistake, but it turned out I was wrong.
I learned this trick so I could make others smile. You're actually supposed to have a present in your hand when you open it, but I couldn't think of what to give you.
Unable to hold in the tears any longer, Lev started to cry.
You both have done so much for me. I just couldn't find anything good enough.
Oh.
He wiped away his tears with the back of his hand, his voice quavering slightly as he fought to get the words out.
I'm really sorry for running off and scaring you guys. But I was worried because you're always so busy. It hurt when you wouldn't listen to me, and I've been so lonely. Tried not to let it get to me, but it just ended up being too much.
We're sorry too, Lev. But don't worry. Soon we won't be as swamped anymore. There's supposed to be a big group moving to Folca from Seed Hollow soon. I hear at least one of them's a doctor.
Vai dar pra eles
Once things have settled
revezarem.
down, we'll all spend some quality time together. I'd love to go shopping in Seed Hollow as a family. That sort of thing. You'd like that too, right, dear?
Of course. As long as we decide on a budget beforehand.
Way to go, Lev! Seeing them all smiling together like that reminded me of Master Sokka for some reason. Once we're back in Fanta Grande, I think I'll pay a visit to Vaults and tell him all about this little adventure.
E... Lev conta aos pais com franqueza o que o incomoda. A mãe e o pai prometem que logo terão mais tempo para a família passar juntos depois de um grupo de médicos de Seed Hollow se mudar para Folca. Finalmente o menino consegue sorrir de novo.
Sometime later, a brand new clinic was built in Folca. Apparently, the people of Tempule and Folca had chipped in to pay for it. A doctor really did move in from Seed Hollow too, so Lev's parents were finally able to make more time for their son.
I'm gonna be a great doctor one day. I'll work super hard so I can give you a real present. Just you wait and see.
With an attitude like that, I have no doubt he'll make an amazing doctor. And besides, now he has my patented magic trick to put smiles on everyone's faces. When I peeked inside the clinic on one of our days off, I saw Lev chatting happily with the people of Folca. I'm sure this town will keep prospering even after we leave. The people here are tough. They'll overcome any hardship that comes their way. And that's what I believe anyway. After seeing the smile on Lev's face, how could I think otherwise?
Anúncio de inauguração, nova anotação descoberta. E assim terminamos os episódios do Destino de Io. E eu espero que vocês tenham gostado. Então, se gostaram, deixa aquele joinha, só clica, coloca um comentário falando o que você achou. Compartilha com os amigos, comente importante. Se não for inscrito no canal, aproveita, se inscreve e ativa o sininho para receber a notificação dos próximos vídeos. Muito obrigado e até o próximo.